Today, on Be Something Wonderful, I intended to manifest a committed relationship with my specific person in 3 days. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. This is our final morning broadcasting from Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. And early this afternoon, we're going to return to South Africa, this time Cape Town, where we're going to be broadcasting for several days from Cape Town. And what I thought was our next video was going to be from Cape Town. I decided to do this one final video here from Zimbabwe because of an email that I received last night. I'm getting more and more emails from clients and subscribers talking about success stories, talking about breakthroughs, talking about aha moments. Well, this subscriber, when I first heard from her, not the first time I talked with her, I talked with her one time before we had a session. But then I heard from her on April 29th. She booked a session. And in the comment, when you book a session with me, there's a comment section of things you might want to talk about. And these were some of the comments that she had when she initially booked the session on April 29th. I'm going to go through the timeline because it's really powerful, right? That she set an intention, and then doubt came up, and then she worked through the doubt, and then manifested her SP wanting a committed relationship with her. This is powerful, so let's go over it. I intend to manifest a committed relationship with my specific person within 3 days. I think it's interesting here she uses 3 days. I've talked about the biblical significance of that, right? In scripture, that the numbers 3 and 7 are mentioned hundreds of times. Number 7, over 700 times. Number 3 and 7 both have this meaning of, it's not really a time period, a linear time period. It represents completion. It represents wholeness. It represents unity with your desire. It represents you being in that state of fulfillment, right? Reaching that state of fulfillment, but not in a period of time. It's representing that state, that divine wholeness, that unity, right? So she uses 3 days here, which I thought was powerful, right? My only technique will be just to abide as the being, in other words, I am that, without carrying the story around. The story she was referring to is the doubt and the fear and the contrary conditions, right? Because remember, all doubt, all fear, all conditions that are unwanted are just another story. Do you get it? And I'm leaving a link to yesterday's video because that was huge. When we talked about story, a real powerful lesson on the idea of your story. But it's just another story. She says, I'm living in the end of already being in a relationship with my SP. She says, I want to make this process fun and creative. This is in her initial notes on the calendar when she booked the session with me on April 29th. And I love that she said she wants to make it fun and creative. So she was really absorbing the videos and the content, and even a session that we had several months before, right? So it turns out that her session was delayed and rescheduled. She rescheduled it several times, right? Over a month, right? That we didn't connect. Either I couldn't, it didn't work out on my side, or it didn't work out on her side. And we finally connected, right? On May 27th. But before that, about a week before that, when she thought she was just going to ask her question by email instead of having a session, on May 20th, a week before the session, she said, what I find challenging when I'm trying to make the change, in other words, manifest that committed relationship, live from that end, using the only technique as being that, I am that, and without carrying doubt or contrary conditions around. She said a lot of old beliefs pop up. How do I deal with it? She goes, that's when those old beliefs pop up, that's when I seem to give up, right? So here's the thing, and we've talked about this quite a bit, and we talked about this in her session, we've talked about this on videos. You don't have to do anything with them. They're an old story, right? They're just another story. Hear this: doubt, fear, contrary beliefs, contrary conditions are just another story about reality. You don't have to do anything. Just stop telling that story. It's not your story. You don't live there anymore, as one of my clients famously said about a year ago. Right? I don't live there anymore. You don't live there anymore. So we talked about all of that. So then, guys, I received the email last night, very excited. She wanted to, and keep in mind, we had a session on May 27th, about a week ago. And in fact, when I looked at when her SP contacted her and when she wrote this email, it was about 7 days. So again, the number 7, the meaning of complete, divine, whole, fulfilled, right? So here it is. So she manifested it not in the 3 days, but actually in 7 days. But remember, it's not days. And you are going to go through that where doubt comes up. But she worked through it by saying it's just another story in linear time, right? She says, my specific person confessed he's in love with me. I love this, the idea that he confessed. It was within him, right? Within her, that he would confess, that she would be in that communication. He couldn't stop thinking of me all the while we were in no contact. Of course not, because she is in that state now. She's claiming it. Right? She claimed that. All I did was persist and believe in my new story. Hear this. All I did, this connects to really yesterday's video. All I did was persist and believe in the new story. But that's everything. Right? That is using your imagination. That is imagining your wish fulfilled. That is living in the end. And she goes, I lived as if it was already a manifested reality. Because it is. Right? May 27th, and then last night on June 3rd, 7 days later, I got that email from her. Right? He said, and here's what she says. He said he wanted to officially ask me to be his girlfriend. Commitment. Do you see it? She wanted that commitment. If you remember on, let's see if we get this. I intend to manifest a committed relationship. He says this here almost. He said he wanted to officially ask me to be his girlfriend. Officially commit, make a commitment. Wow, that's powerful. In those few days, right? And here's what she says. Here's some of the things that she said in this email last night to talk about it. She said, they are not hard facts, but malleable stories. In other words, that doubt, that fear, those contrary conditions are just stories, and those are stories that that change, that can be worked, that can disappear, or can be revised, or can be whatever you want them to be. She really got this idea that I am reality. Everything else is just a story. This really connects to yesterday's video, right? She had the realization that I am source. I'm the Lord in the law, and there is no other. There's no other God besides me. This is why this Isaiah 45:5 is so powerful. This is really the realization she had. And the ancients said it, I am the Lord. I am the law. I am reality. I am the absolute. There's no story. There's no reality without me. There's nothing out there. And there is no other. There are no other stories. Hear this. There is no other. I am the light. She realized, she came to that realization that her story, what she wants it to be, is the only reality. It's the only story. There is no other. So the story about doubt, the story about fear that she said that she wanted to give up, she just realized that there is no other story. She doesn't have to identify with those old stories. She doesn't have to identify with doubt or fear or contrary conditions. No doubt, no fear, no conditions, no unwanted, no non-fulfillment. None of those. Those are all stories that don't exist unless you light them up. They don't exist unless you tell them. Right? Wow. There's only reality what I announce and claim and declare, period. So guys, keep this in mind, that even though that doubt came up, right, in between her and setting that intention, right, from that conviction, the conviction was still there, that you are that conviction. I am doesn't go away. I am is your conviction. No one can deny you, I am. No one can deny I am that. 3D reality must yield to it, and 3D reality yield to it, right? Yielded to it. So, and I am the only reality. So on May 27th, right? That's when we finally got together on Zoom, right? I talked about that. A week later, 7 days later, right? The biblical meaning of completion, of divine whole, right? Of the idea of that it's manifested, it's fulfilled, right? That seventh day, remember, and she attended it in 3 days, but it really was 7. It doesn't matter. She was thinking of completion. And remember, 7 days and 3 days, time doesn't matter. What do those represent? Those represent your movement within to that absolute conviction that it's done. It's not the time, it's the intensity. Moving to that commitment, right? That conviction where you are that person. I intended to manifest a committed relationship with my SP in 3 days. And she did, but really in 7. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for joining our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. You can also visit us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, or just go to our website anytime at tomkearin.com or besomethingwonderful.com. We also have a membership channel. Thank you for joining. If you have joined, if you want to join, there's a link below. There's lots more content on the channel. There'll be another video coming out specifically for the membership channel. Just a few days ago, we released a new one. And we'll also have more live streams, live streams on the membership channel coming. Guys, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom Kearin with Be Something Wonderful. We will see you in Cape Town, South Africa. See you soon.